what's good, y'all? Welcome to Mike Motivation Monday, and I have another great guest. But before we get into the actual interview, we're going to talk about the book of the week. And so the book of the week is The Way of the Superior Man. And The Way of the Superior Man to me is definitely a book that any man that feels like he want to reach the next level, not only with women and relationships, but just in life in general. And it's going to talk about how pursuing your purpose is truly the path to take as a man, as a masculine man. You know what I mean? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first guest. But man, I first met Jeremiah. I first met Jeremiah within 6-7 months ago, and then from our first conversation, I was like, man, this dude he's powerful, and he's definitely thinking further ahead. But then the thing that I think is the best thing about him is his spirit. He has a giving spirit, and he's willing to lift others up with him. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jeremiah Wright. What up, man?
What's happening, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right.
How you doing?
Good.
So how your day been, man?
It's been good, man. It's been good, man. I was on a Facebook Live earlier. I was saying, hey, man, we gotta be thankful that we're here, because a lot of people didn't make it to 2021 and give praise to the universal creator. You know what I'm saying? So
100%. Like, so, because we always be talking about it. Like, how do you feel about this year coming along? Like, you feel like you got a lot of energy? Like, because I seen you on Instagram. You said Instagram Live, but I seen that energy jolt that you have. Like, you ready to take on this new year? So can you kind of talk about your mindset right now as far as 2021?
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah. So, man, I got that no excuse mindset. I think 2020 allowed us to really go inside ourselves and look at some things. And that's what we always got to do every year. When a new year comes around, we need to analyze all the previous years and how we can improve. So, I'm excited about the things to come and the opportunity of growth. I talked to some other individuals, and they were saying, my thing's not working right on my job and different things like that. But I'm like, this is an opportunity for you to develop some new skills and do some things. And that's what I did during the pandemic, develop some new skills, some new connections, some seeking out mentorship, learning things that I don't know. I'm ready for this year. That's my mindset, ready for war. You know what I'm saying? 2020 was a time to prepare and sharpen the sword. Now it's time for battle.
Yeah, 100%, man. And one thing I like that you, one of our first conversations that we had is you talking about lifting up the community.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So can you kind of talk about like the power of you being a personal trainer, you having GetItWright Fitness, but then how do you use that tool to kind of not only help everybody, but kind of lift up our community, and how important is that to you?
Definitely. Man, I heard Dr. King say something in a speech, not personally, but where he talked about, if you're a janitor, be the best janitor you could be. Sweep floors like no one else can sweep them floors. And that really rang a bell with me, because I'm like, no matter what position you're in, maybe you're working at McDonald's, maybe you start your own business and you're struggling, whatever it might be, you don't know who's watching you. And you don't know who you're making an impact on, because the young minds are watching. And if you do things in a certain way with a smile on your face, and do something that you love, first of all, but you do it with all your heart, then it's going to affect everybody else. And that's what it's about. When you can build a fortification with the community, that's important, man, because it allows, now it's more than money. People win the lottery all the time, right? And then they go broke. You say, well, damn, I thought it was all about the money. But they didn't build a fortification with the money. So if I ever win the lottery, when I win the lottery, buy a community center. Do something to give back, because now you always have that thing that you're going to be able to look at. That's an investment, and some people don't have anybody, man. Some people don't have nobody to give them game. Some people don't have nobody to talk to. So if we ever get in a position where we rise higher, we always got to put that ladder back down. You know what I'm saying? So.
100%. And that's a good analogy. But then one thing too, I feel like we always talk about, there's a difference between putting that ladder down and then walking down the ladder to carry somebody on your back. Can you kind of tell us how you kind of carry that balance within your life, and not only personal training, because obviously it's tough when you're trying to drag people to the gym or you're trying to motivate them to do this sometimes. But then can you kind of talk about that having that balance of not dragging people to the gym but motivating them or inspiring them to take that next step in their life.
Yeah, definitely. Man, you got to meet people where they are, you know, and that's just anything in life. Like, you know, let's say I always don't really use the gym as much as I should, even being a personal trainer. Let's say you give a friend a book. He might not read that book, but you can begin to talk to him in your conversation, giving them gems, and he's like, man, that's dope, that's sweet. You're like, man, check out that book.
It's in the book.
You know, and that's all about meeting people where they are. You know, and you know, if they're ready to receive it, then they're gonna begin to climb up that mountain. Or they say, hey, let's get on my shoulder. But one thing we can't do, especially starting off, you want to help people, but you want to help them the right way. You know, it's just like give a man a fish or teach a man to fish. You know, if I'm giving you money all the time, you're like, well, I can depend on him. Then Jeremiah wells runs dry. But if I teach you how to get money yourself, then we two people with money. So it's like now we can go help, you know, John or help the, you know, whoever's in the game. We can help them out, and we're able to multiply and maximize. I want to multiply. I'm like you say, man, that's one thing you got to give in spirit. I'm a maximizer. You know what I'm saying? You ever see the X-Men?
Yeah, I see the movie, but I'm not like...
The last one with Apocalypse, it was horrible. But they got him out of Egypt. And he was... why was he so powerful? He was maximized. He had maximized Wolverine. He had maximized Storm. And they ended up turning around and had to kick his ass. You know? But he was able to maximize. And that's what we got to learn to do. How can I maximize my brother? I'll bring up another movie real fast, too, because I was just watching it with my little guy. You ever see the movie Jet Li, The One?
Yeah.
That's a good movie, ain't it? Let's go.
My uncle, shout out to my uncle, he put me on that.
Okay. And Jet Li is going to kill his other self, right? So he can get stronger. Because that's the only heaven or utopia that particular guy knows. He says, I'm going to be strong. Because even at the end of the movie, they took him to a place, but he was kind of happy because he got to kick some ass. You know, we don't know if there's other universes. We don't know that.
Yeah.
So how can we get stronger? Is what I ask myself, and when I ask my little guy. You know, is there another Jeremiah somewhere? I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? That's a philosophy. But I know that I know another young trainer. You know what I'm saying? I know another young boy, you know, growing up with no lights and water, and what can I do to help him get stronger? Because we are one. We are one. You know what I'm saying? So
you gotta move in a unit. And that's one thing too, I like what you talk about. Starting a recreational center or doing a certain programming. And if y'all don't know already, we got some things coming in the works as far as youth programming. But I like that you were saying I think one like major theme of what you said too is the passing that knowledge. Because that's way more effective in the long run. Because like you said, you're gonna use all the water in your well trying to feed everybody in the town. Instead of teaching them how to fish and get the water themselves. But then can you kind of take me back to the like beginning of kind of with Jeremiah Wright, kind of talk about your background, kind of where you from, how big was your family, and kind of like things that come to mind when you think about your youth.
Things that come to mind when I think about my youth. Man, that's a good question. That's a long one, man. Might have to do another podcast of a origin story. You know, things that stick out to me when I think about my youth, I have a baby brother. He's like 2 years younger than me. And when I was in kindergarten, my baby brother had a brain tumor. And so my mother and father are going back to the hospital, and they're at the hospital all the time. So we're at home alone. And they fucked up the surgery. You see what I'm saying? So he was left fully handicapped. He can't walk, talk, hear, or see. You know, so that's one of my early memories. And then my father died when I was like 15. You know, you generally, you know, great memories, but you generally remember things that traumatize you. You know, because that's the things you're going to begin to react to, and that shapes who you are as an adult. If you don't surround yourself around the right people. But those are the couple things that I remember that have been crucial in my life that has kind of just changed the way I go at things, you know, because with my little brother, you know, I've been a trainer for about a decade, bro. And with my little brother, I see him, he can't do the things I can do. You see, he can't talk. He's deaf, you know. They ruined the surgery completely. But I am capable of walking and talking to people and motivating people and doing different things like I need to do in the community. Who am I to take that for granted? You see what I'm saying?
That's powerful,
You know, and people out there listening, if you you know, you might not have that severe of a situation, but maybe your grandma died or something like that. You need to be living for them people that can't do nothing right now. You know, we had, 250,000 better people die of COVID-19. You know, use that as motivation to take it to the next level.
2021, bro, that's a blessing.
That's a major blessing. That's a major blessing, you know. And I said today, like, the greatest gift to all the people that pass is how you live your life. That's honor to them. So, you know, that's my honor to my brother, is to do everything I can do. You know, I made a promise to him that I'm going to take you all around the world. And you're going to come up on stage with me. You know what I'm saying? So people can see. And I want the people to be a soldier of Tyrone too as well. So, you know.
Shout out to him, man, for real. I think that's very powerful story too. Thank you for sharing that. I think one thing too is, I feel like that was super powerful for you, is you learned how to take the so-called losses and turn them into lessons. You know what I mean? And so can you kind of talk about the transitional stage of you turning that loss into a lesson to be that motivator for you to not take life for granted in general or anything?
Definitely, man. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to begin to climb things, you know. So, you know, I had been training for, I think, about 5 years at the time. And you just go through different things in your life. You ebb and flow. And at that time, I was just feeling really down. And I was actually sitting on my mother's couch at the time. I was looking at my brother, and that's kind of when I had to say, hey, man, it's time to get up and go. And the things that I began to do, you know, like I say, my father died when I was 15. And regardless of what people may think, boys need a man in their life. You see, so, and shout out to the single mothers that's doing their thing out there.
Shout out to the woman.
But get that man, that young man, a mentor. Try to get him a coach. Get somebody that you can trust. I know everybody you can't trust, but find somebody, vet him, and get him a mentor of a man. And I didn't have that. So, but what we have nowadays, we have technology, right? We have YouTube. We have things that we can look. So if I find somebody that I like, then I'm going deep and I'm researching. You know, books are testimonies. You know, you got people giving you $1 million worth of game, and you won't even read a book.
You won't even read the book.
The person put their life on wax, and you won't even read a page of the book. You know, how many times have you talked to somebody and they like everything about you, but you will not go read a book or suggestion? You know, I always say, this is what I would say, DNA. What's in your DNA? Not what your mother and father gave to you, but DNA, I break it down this: discipline, no excuses, mindset, boom, and action. What fucking action are you taking? You know, you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. I want to work out, Mike. How many people being in DM? I want to work out, Mike. I want to start a business, Mike. I want to do this. Well, let's see some action. And if all you can do is crawl to the workout, you see, I've had people 300, 400 pounds begin to work out. They can't do hardly nothing. But guess what? They keep on coming, they keep on coming, they keep on coming, and the pounds start falling off. But you got to have a made-up mind, man. And that's what happened to me. I said, man, I got a made-up mind. I ain't taking no excuses for that. If I don't know how to do something, I'm going to figure out how to do it. I'm going to teach myself, you know. And shout out to academia. It's great, but nothing is better than self-education.
That experience.
Learning, seeking it for yourself. You know, nobody can teach you. How could someone in a school know what you need to learn anyway? You can pick a discipline, you can go that route, that's great. No knock to that, love it. Went through academia myself. But self-education will teach you more. You see, especially for people of color. People of color, incomes a lot of times don't change higher degrees they get. Keep on getting those degrees, you're just going in more massive debt. You see what I'm saying? And then you still only make roughly about 60% of your white counterpart. Because you need to self-educate. Don't just put somebody else's education above your own. You're just doing this and getting that piece of paper, but who was the first person to give that person a piece of paper? You see what I'm saying? Find some things that you like, that you're interested and you're passionate about.
Man, so how did man, that was powerful. I was gonna say is, you kind of alluded to that earlier, is first off, you threw it in there a little bit, is like, find something you're passionate about. Can you tell us how you figured out, man, this is what I want to do, as far as personal training and all the other stuff you be doing?
Man, I just know I want to help people, and I know this ain't the end of the road. You know, I really enjoy mentoring more than anything. But as far as the personal training, my dad was a huge guy. You know, he's just massive, you know. And so I always loved to work out. You know, I started working out. I remember when I could do one push-up. like 14, 15. When somebody so close to you dies, it drains your energy.
Yeah.
I'm a very spiritual individual, it just drained me. And I remember I could barely do one push-up. But I did that every day. 1, 2, 3,
Steps.
4, 5.
Took those steps.
Boom. You know what I'm saying? People thought it was funny. I would drop down and get it. I said, I'm going to get strong. Because in my mind, after seeing my father, a man was supposed to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So that's where it started off. And then I said, man, every day I was working 2 jobs at the time. And I said, every day I'm going to go to this gym. And this particular gym I used to go to, nobody was there. Right? Nobody at all, man. And I said, so every day I went and worked out at this 24-hour gym. Every day, 16-hour day, nothing. It just became a habit. I didn't have cable or nothing at the time, so I would have to go there to watch the Spurs, you know what I'm saying? And just grinding, man, yeah.
That's good,
man. But it just came, personal training and coaching and stuff comes more from my passion of helping people and people seeing transformation. Mm-hmm. Just to answer your question, I'll digress a little bit. Mm-hmm. When I first started off, my people were seeing some extreme transformations. Like I was seeing people lose tons of weight. I'm like, well, I'm doing a thing, I'm studying the same thing that everybody else in here because we have to have certain credentials to be up in here. But why was that? Then I figured out it was the mindset. It's what I had already did to myself. And it was just, it was just coming out my pores. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, do this, do X, Y, and Z, do X, Y, and Z. And then I'm noticing young women that I'm training at the time because we were getting a lot of young women. And their speech was beginning to change. I had one girl, she just couldn't quit cussing. I said, hey, don't cuss. Hey, watch what you say. Hey, this. Because we're spending an hour, 2 hours with you a day. I have to be careful what goes into my mind. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that. So, so that became addictive to me. I'm like, wow, man, I want to get these transformations, like real transformations. Yeah. I always say, if you look up in the Webster dictionary the definition of transformation, it ain't just a body fit transformation.
Talk about that mindset.
It's physical, mental, and your situation. You see what I'm saying? And situation, which is spiritual. Because you think about spiritual as the unseen. You can't really see your situation, right? You see? So how can I get a complete transformation? In anything, whether it be business, personal finance, or fitness, but you have to mix it all together, man. Mix it all together and go after it.
Yeah, I love that a lot. I was just thinking too, is like, in order to change, to help somebody, you have to help yourself. Oh man. So can you kind of talk about as far as like the investment into your mindset, as far as like, I'm gonna read, I'm gonna go to the gym. Can you kind of talk about that process? You alluded to it a little bit earlier, about the working out, but can you kind of talk about the mental side? Like, I'm gonna start doing this, I'm gonna start doing that.
Man, you gotta do it, man. You gotta look at it just like, I look at the mindset stuff I do like my bank account. You ever go to the bank and you're negative? I know some of y'all already spent that check. And the people, you go to the bank and say, hey, how much money I got? They like, you ain't got no damn money. Same thing with your mind. You ain't put nothing in your mind. Yeah. You see, so when you open up your mouth, ain't nothing but ignorance coming. And I didn't want that for myself. I've always been a thinker, and I wanted to learn how to articulate myself in a manner that everybody understands. Yes. I don't just want, you don't just want these people to understand it and these people don't. You don't want just these people to understand and these people don't. You want everybody to understand it. So I want to be articulate and understand that. So I just began to buy books and books and books and look in the bibliography in the backs and look for a list of books and a reference because I want to understand what they were putting out there. Because I'm not just going to take anybody's word from it and going deep in that research. And that's real blackness. It's because, Timbuktu, one of the first universities, that's us going towards that blackness and researching. And like you say, you got to start with you. So knowledge of self is something that the young black and brown need. You're not taught that in school. You're not taught that in school. So you have a poor self-image. That's true. Because you're looking at everybody else, but you never see yourself. You see, so when you go out to the world, you feel inferior. Yes. And you don't ask for that raise like the other guy fresh out of college. You say, okay, give me what you give me. Yeah. You see, because you don't have that self-confidence, and that's coming from knowing yourself, and feeding yourself. So if you don't know yourself, you weren't taught that, you got to research and say, let me research black greatness. Black didn't start with slavery. You see, and we have to know that, and and to bring it back to me, that's some things I started researching. I started researching about myself and researching about different things and different things I've seen. I found a book when I was a young kid. I was like maybe 5, 6 years old, and it was a book of it was like a black encyclopedia of all these black people that did these great things. It was a black history book, I want to say. And I was thinking, I was maybe first, second grade at the time, maybe no, fifth, five, maybe I was 6, maybe 7. And I'm like, I didn't never see none of this.
Yes.
You know, I ain't never seen none of this.
That's intentional too, as far as like the educational side.
Yeah.
That's very intentional for them not to allow us to understand how great we are.
Where there's no vision, the people will perish. You see what I'm saying? You ain't got no vision of yourself.
Yes.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna do whatever you see.
Yes.
I'm gonna do whatever the TV screen is bringing my way. And you take that junk into your mindset and you begin to project that out. That's why some people be like, man, that's all I know. Man, that's all I know. When you gonna quit saying that and step it up and take it to the next level and get around some people that can help you make a change. 100%. Like we're trying to do with the youth leadership program.
Yeah, 100%. That's real. Can you kind of talk about just how do you kind of keep your mind as far as, because when you get to a certain level, I feel like you know a lot, but then how do you keep your mind to understand like I can always know more? You see what I'm saying? So how do you keep that perspective? It's like there's always something next for me to learn, and then there's always another level for me to level up to, as far as mentally, but then also spiritually and stuff.
What I say, if you're living, you're learning. And if you're learning, there's a transformation waiting for you. That's my saying. Every day I say, you don't know everything. No one knows everything. You know, some people will say, oh man, this, and this, and they'll give you all their philosophy. You gotta stay hungry, man. You gotta say, man, there's always an opportunity to learn. There's always different situations to learn from and to grow from, and you just gotta go in that day knowing that. You know, yes, you learn a lot, but so what? So what? What does that mean? So let's think, like some people are intimidated by fitness professionals because they want to brag about all they know. You know, maybe I know a lot about fitness, but you know a lot about finances. You know, so what does it give me anything to have my ego all big?
Law, I'm not gonna work with you.
Instead of just learning together, instead of collaborating, coming together. But man, you gotta do something every day, man. You gotta wake up, you know, meditate, pray, read something, you know, get you a daily routine and ritual where you can continue yourself to grow. Because then that other stuff don't come into play. You know, that ego is killed. You know, you want to kill that, you know, what they call the ego, and kill that noise. You know what I'm saying? Kill that glamour. That don't even make no sense. Don't even make no sense to have it, you know? Listen and learn, just like you do. The podcast, you know, you got people coming on your podcast and you learn about their life. And you getting that free game and free information, and you're growing. You know what I'm saying? So now you're transforming yourself by doing a podcast.
It's a conversation.
You see, you're doing it for them out there so they can hear it too. But you know, this is for you. I know that's when I have good conversation with people. I'm growing, and then I might give it to somebody else, and then we pass it on. Just like you're saying, what is it worth if you don't pass it on? If you think about like the I think it's a 4x400.
Okay.
Boom, you got the fastest brother in the world. You got me, you, John, you got somebody else, right?
Yeah, we fast, bro.
We fast, we running, we taking off, right? Boom, let's say you start off. Boom, you take off out the gate. Boom, you get to John the baton. John takes, boom, oh man, John's in the lead. But if John don't know how to pass that baton, all is lost.
Yes.
So the most valuable skill is passing the baton. You see? And that's what we got to get. How do you pass that baton on? How do you keep things going and running? How do you sit at the end of the day? See, we got to think about the long game. We got to think about the end game. How do you sit at the end of the day, 80 years old, and say, hey, man, I help some people. I help some people, and this continues to go. That's the master's last task. Can I find somebody that's passionate enough like me to carry on this task?
And I think that but that shows a testament to how great of a leader you actually are.
Oh yeah.
If you're able to transition and teach somebody what you know, that's when I feel like you have a real good grasp on it. But then, like you said earlier, you have to be able to teach in a way that everybody understands.
Everybody understands.
Because there's no point of you yelling and screaming if nobody listening to you.
Nobody
if they don't
listens to
understand
you,
what you're saying, like, this dude crazy, what are you talking about? But then, like you said, you have to break it down to a certain level, meet people where they're at, like you said, and then pass on that information.
Yeah.
But then can you kind of talk about how much does it mean to you to pass on that information to your kids? You know what I mean? And talk about how kind of you go about that.
When you get a little older and stuff like that, every young man is your brother, son. So, like, you know that it's crucial because, like, that's your mirror. The world is your mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was up at Subway and I seen this kid and they was putting their money together and they were trying to get a Subway sandwich. And, you know, I can remember that. I can remember, you know, a time where, man, me, my brother, and my nephew was trying to put some money together to get something to eat, so we could eat, you know? So, man, it's just so important because, like, that's your mirror. You know what I'm saying? That's who you are. How could you turn yourself on yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like some people that make comments about black women and different things like that. It's like, that's your mom, that's your aunt. How dare
It's
you
your sister.
could even form your mouth to say such a thing? You see?
Mm-hmm.
To say such a thing, because that's a reflection of yourself. And if you just sit back and talk about people and give your opinion and put people down instead of trying to give back, you have no right to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I help you out, and I'm not saying I'm putting yourself, but if I help you out, then let's get some constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Where we can begin to grow and build. But you gotta, like I say, once again, you gotta learn what everybody's level is at, you know? Say, hey, yeah, I'm gonna break it down, but now since we broke it down and we're here and we know we're here, now let's climb. Boom, 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 let's climb the ladder so we can both go and we can go to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. That's very true.
I hope I answered that question. I don't know, sometimes I feel it, man. Sometimes I feel like it's going.
That's good, man. That's good. Man, just as far as like, when you're thinking about future goals for you, you know what I mean? Like, how do you break them down? Do you base it on certain, like, I want to reach this level? Is it just this cap? I just want to reach this level, or do I want to dive into this? Or how do you organize your goals as far as like, okay, I want to have a certain amount of money in this, but then also want to start this program, but then also want to do this. So how do you kind of measure out those goals, and like, can you kind of talk about some of them you may have, but not giving too much information, but kind of how you break it down, how you want to reach it?
Well, one of the main goals that I have is, you know, I want to get more into mentoring young business owners, you know, our potential business owners, you know, how to start your business, you know, where to look for things, maybe who to partner up with. So that's one of my main goals. And then the Youth Leadership Academy, you know, and getting the loop. But the GetItWright Fitness is goals executed in a timely manner, you know. So I always want my goals to be executed in a timely manner. Sometimes you don't hit that target. Most of the time you will, because once you hold something in mind, it's going to begin to come your way. So, you know, sometimes what I'll do, especially like around this time of year, I'll write down everything that I want to do, everything. And then I'll take it, put it, I said, now, what do I need to get done right now? What's important to the mission right now? And then I write that and focus on those main three things. Okay. You know, so, and then, you know, obviously once you knock those out, you can go to the next, go to the next, go to the next. But you need to be Pacific, you know, like, remember, what's the movie, Aladdin? Yeah. The genie's actually Aladdin's mind, actually, but that's a whole other topic. But, you know, he said, be careful what you wish for, you know, because you need to be Pacific. Oh, I want $1 million. You don't even know what to do with $1 million if you had it. You might buy a bunch of drugs and then you might lead to your demise. Yeah. When you should say, let me learn what to do with $1 million. You know, let me get some money where I can, you know, start my business, you know, buy a nice house and do X, Y, and Z and still get some more things rolling. You know, be Pacific, whatever that goal is at. And this is the time that everybody begins to make goals. So you just want to be Pacific as possible and don't bite off more than you can handle, you know. So, but for me, you know, obviously more gyms, more guys to mentor, and then feeding into the youth leadership thing, and then raising money for, you know, because one thing I'll tell you, there was an organization that we dealt with because my brother was fully handicapped, and they wouldn't do anything because he couldn't talk. You know, although the surgery was botched, they wouldn't do anything. So finding some, you know, raising money for the kids with cancers and different things that's not really getting no money. You know, there's some, like if you look up, I think it's the yellow one, the yellow ribbon you see, and they're raising money because a very little portion goes to those kids. So, you know, for me, my goals are always got to be attached to something because that pulls me forward, you know, no matter what. Like if I wake up in the day and I just got to train, that might not get everybody out the bed. But if I wake up on the day and say, hey, I know there's people depending on me. I know I got to be there and show up because I got to keep this mission rolling. If I stop, then everything stops. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that engine keeps on rolling. So
100%. And so as far as like, so as far as looking forward for you, like what are you kind of expecting for this year? Like what's kind of like the dream thing? Be like, oh yeah, this is happening this year.
Yeah, well, you know, get a couple more trainers on staff and the youth leadership program, you know, and like I say, and then begin to raise money for the less fortunate kids and stuff like that, and then having the youth leadership, the children in the program, you know, because it's full circle. Like, yeah, we teach fitness and sports and different things like that, but we want to teach them entrepreneurship too, because that's where the seeds are planted. If I'm telling you, get ready to be an employee, you know, like what's that to look for? I can understand why so many people are dealing with depression right now. Your job done cut you loose, and you got all these skills and abilities, and you ain't done nothing with them. You know, you heard the story about the talents, right?
Say it again.
The talents.
The
talents, the master and the talents. You heard this, John? Okay. So a master he got 3 guys that work for him. He gives one guy 1 talent, one guy 3 talents, and one guy 5 talent. He comes back, the guy with 5 now has like 7, the guy with 3 has 4, the guy with 1 said, aha, I knew you would come back, master. I knew you was coming back, and I didn't want to lose that talent. So he dig it up and then give it to him. You know, talent is another word for gold. And the guy's like, why'd you do that? I gave you that so you could work it. He took the talent and gave it to the one with the most talent. You know, you got these talents and these skills and abilities. You just want to lose them. You're not using them.
That's true. You're not giving yourself a chance to even give the opportunity to let your goals and your mind flourish or anything like that. And that's one key thing too. I feel like going back to kind of like the school situation. I feel like sometimes school compresses like your creativity. And kind of the goals that your true abilities sometimes.
Definitely, especially for young kids, young minority children, because everybody doesn't learn the same, Mike. You know, how can you give this? When you treat your different people that you're training, you don't train any of them the same.
You don't,
Now let's go back to grade school. Now we're gonna say some kids are geniuses right from the jump. We gotta realize that he's in 5th grade, he's in 1st grade, and this dude's already a genius. Mind's working, and he's like A, B, C, D. You know, and this dude's like, what's going on? You know, so it slows them down too slow. So
that's true.
Every kid learns different, and then so like if you're a parent, a young parent out there, learn how your kids learn so you can begin to feed that, nurture that.
And that's the reason too is a lot of these kids, they be putting them on these ADHD pills and stuff like that. Oh, he doesn't learn. He's a bad kid. The reason why he's bad because this is boring. It's boring. It's not intriguing his mind.
Yeah, you taking, and now you as a business owner, I bet you wish you had some extra ADHD, huh? You're like, man, I got a lot of things to do.
Exactly. And that's very true. And that's what kind of want to spin it back to too is thank you for, you be giving me a whole bunch of jewels just on business and as far as personal training and stuff like that. So I want to thank you for that. But then kind of spin it back to where, because when I started my business in the beginning, like to where it is now, like I take major steps. So kind of you take us back to when you first started GetItWright Fitness and kind of the learning lessons you learned from that is like, man, I didn't expect this, or kind of the setbacks, but talk about how you kind of worked through them.
Setbacks in early, man, you know, when you first start something off, you know, even if you're meant to do some things, you always question yourself. There's this, you know, fear. Fear is one of the number 1 words said in the New Testament of the Bible. Fear. It kills everything because it's a fake projection. So you get these projections saying, I can't do that. I don't know if I'm qualified enough to execute this. I don't know about this or that, you know. So, you know, that does pop up in your head early off. And then you're like, where am I going to get these clients from? You know, you got so many questions. How can I stay organized? How can I make sure this person stays there and don't go somewhere? Because every client is crucial to you at that
100%.
point. You know, so And then people want to work out. Like I told you that one story, I had a lady, you know, I was kind of in between. I was working a job, but I was doing my own thing. And I'm like, man, I need to really do my own thing. I had a lady buy some training from me. And I want to say the lady, she wanted to work out like at 4:30 in the morning. So I had to wake up really early. So that was an obstacle. It's like, man, I need to wake up, be ready to go prepare because I need this. I need this client. I need that. Yeah, man. So it's just, there's so many things, but the real biggest hurdle with self-employment and starting your own business is the mindset, bro. You know what I'm saying? And feeling confident in what you can do.
Yes.
You know, no matter what comes your way. If somebody tells you no, you take that as energy. I had a lady, she told me no years ago. Then I was approached and said, hey, we want you to, you know, do a photo shoot for the paper. So I did a photo shoot. That lady called that morning and bought like $2,500 worth of training. You see, it's like, I know that guy, but she wouldn't have bought that if I didn't make that connection.
You didn't plant that seed.
I didn't sow that seed. You see, so man, everything you're doing is working, but you just got to keep on sowing, knowing that it's going to come. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell you, you know, walk that walk, because it's going to be there once you get there. You know, you hear people say, you're becoming this, you're becoming this. I don't believe you're becoming. You're just being. You're already that.
Yes.
You know, your passion and desires are proof to you in your mind. Denzel said that proof to you that what you want is already done. So 100%. Just walk it out. You know
and that's the truth. And that's for people too, is starting up your own business. And like he said, is there's going to be a lot of hours and a lot of times that you put in so much work that seems unpaid. But really, like you said, that seed's not going to grow or sow until a couple years down the road. And so, like, make sure you keep putting in that work no matter what it is, even though it's some hard times, because there's a lot of hours that I spend, and I know he spends, that it seems like, damn, this shit, I don't even know if it's paying off. But in the long run, you have to prepare your mindset. Like he said, prepare your mindset to know that anything that you're doing or anything that you're going through, you're going to get through it. You feel me?
I add on to that too. 78% of people before the pandemic lived paycheck to paycheck. You see, so, you know, what do you really have to lose with betting on yourself? Because I guarantee that number's 90%. You know, that number's 90, maybe 95% now living paycheck to paycheck. And even when they came out with this thing here recently, they're like, we know what people are going to do with their money based off what they have in the account. If you have $500 in your account, that money's going right out. You got $600. Some people with children got a little bit more. You need to first take care of your finances, get your finances in order, make a plan, but you need to invest in yourself. You know, whether it just be a book, a course, you might learn some online marketing because people are staying home, they're not in the office, so that marketing is going to be very important. Buy something that's going to be of value in the future to you that you can make money off of. You know, starting your own small business. Yes. You know, sometimes we think about too big of a grand idea, but guess what? Somebody made this sign. Actually, I did. Somebody made this sign. How can I get with somebody that made this sign and maybe charge $5 more because I know people that might want it? You know, I can't make it, but I know the person that makes it and get down and sell. And while you're doing that, what you do, you set in motion because you begin to learn things about business. Now you can go, and when you get another idea, you can start your business and run smooth because you already have that practice. But we got to quit living like that. All of America, 78%, 90%. Paycheck to paycheck, you know. So when the stimulus checks quit rolling in,
what are you gonna do?
When the dust settles, what are you gonna do?
You're not gonna have anything. That's what I was telling my mom the other day. A lot of these people going out and turning up for the new year. These are gonna be the same people that's turning up at the next new year, 2022. Talking about they don't have nothing to build off of. They're gonna be doing in the same mindset. You know what I mean?
Man, that's spot on. Bullseye. Bang. Because if everybody's doing it, then you know what not to do. You see what I'm saying? If you want to know what not to do, look at what the fuck everybody else is doing. You know, if all these people going out, you're like, that's not fruitful. That's why it's so important, man, to have a vision for yourself and have a roadmap for yourself and making your passion and getting it to work for you. Because we love what we do. So even if we're not getting paid, we're getting paid the reward because this is what we love. And when you find something like that vision, that passion, you look and say, does me doing X, Y, and Z align with that vision? No, it doesn't. So, okay, that answers that. But people without visions, they just gonna do whatever. If you call me, hey, yo, Jay, it's time, well, man, we're gonna go out and stuff like that. It's like, well, that didn't align with the vision.
Yeah, that's not.
If I don't have vision, then I'm hopping on board. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm just living in La La Land and Wonderland.
Yeah.
I'm staying up all night. You know, so I had a brother that I trained, and I was like, man, you gotta read this book and stuff like that. Good dude, but he really didn't have a vision for himself, and I seen that early off. And this dude had got a little inheritance, and he went and bought a PlayStation and a TV, and he stayed up all night playing the game. And you know, he lost his $20-something an hour job, and lost his apartment and everything. He had to move in with his brother or something because of a PlayStation and a TV, because he didn't have a vision for himself. Now, there's nothing wrong with a PlayStation and TV, but if I got a vision for myself, I'm not just wasting that time. I'm saying, well, I might play for about 30 minutes, and I need to go work on my shirts. I need to go work on my gear. I need to do X, Y, and Z, and then I'm need me some rest. You know, so it's so important to have a vision for your life. Martin Luther King, what is in your life a blueprint? You know what I'm saying? Talking from the dead.
Yes, that's very true. Another visionary, Malcolm X, a visionary. You can hear it in the speech. It's like, why is this stuff still going on? And why is this happening in the 1960s and this is still happening now? Because there was visionaries, and like you said, they have blueprints and they really understood the things, their passion, and so then you can see in the future, so to speak. And that kind of relates to kind of what you said is, oh man, you're becoming this. I'm like, no, I am this. And I understand that my mindset is at this point, so I understand that my future, what it holds as far as that. But to kind of wrap everything up, what if, I like to always ask the question is, if I was a random person walking down the street and I came up to you, I was like, Jeremiah, man, I just need advice about anything in life, man. What can you tell me, man? And what would you give?
Always learn from the situation, good or bad. There's no person that can't teach you. I like to tell stories. One time I worked at a gas station a long time ago, and I went to a gas station. I was with my guy, and a homeless guy, oh man, so good to see you. Then we proceeded to go to a street, and the city worker was working. Hey Jay, so good to see you. He's like, man, you know a little bit of everybody. You know? I said, but in my mind, I know that I can learn from everybody. I can learn from a homeless man. You know, maybe what not to do, and even what to do, because he has gems and he has life experience that I don't have. So my advice to anybody that would come up and ask me advice, always learn from your situation. You know, and obviously a person come and ask for advice might be in a bad situation, but if they take it back and look through a different lens and say, what is meant for me to learn from the situation? Because oftentimes what people do, they say, God, I want to be strong, but you don't want a situation that's going to make you strong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want what it takes to go. You don't want to go through the fire. You know, so you want to be a leader. You want to take your business to the next level. You want to take your relationship to the next level. You want to take your family to the next level.
You're not willing to sacrifice for it.
You got to willing to sacrifice. You got to really go to the fire. You know, as men and young women and young men and women out there, you might want some things for your family in your life. But you're going to come to a point where you're like, man, you're at a crossroad. Man, I want all these things, but it's not happening for me. What's up? I did everything right, and I continue to fail. You know, that's going to happen to you. But guess what? If you keep on pushing forward and have no excuse, you're going to have everything that your heart seeks. So always learn from your situation.
100%. Marathon, man. It's a marathon. And man, with that being said, thank you, Jeremiah. That was powerful, man. That was very powerful. And thank y'all for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want some merchandise, btneversettle.store. And man, we'll see you next week. Peace.